কল্পনা করুন তো, এমন একটা পৃথিবী যেখানে কোনো নিয়ম নীতি নেই, আর চোখের সামনে গোটা সমাজ ব্যবস্থাটা ভেঙে পড়ছে। কেমন হবে সেই দুঃস্বপ্ন? That exact nightmare is what brings us to the poet in this portrait, W.B. Yeats, and his masterpiece, The Second Coming. If you're a West Bengal Board Class 11 student, this is a crucial chapter for your Semester 1 syllabus. To understand the poem's core concept, look at this diagram. This is the widening gyre, which is essentially an expanding spiral. Yeats viewed human history as a spiraling vortex, starting tightly wound at a central point, but inevitably expanding and spinning out of control over time. In this metaphor, the falconer represents the voice of authority or moral tradition. The falcon, representing humanity, is trained to obey that voice, but it can only follow the command if it stays within earshot of the center. As the gyre widens, the distance becomes too great for the voice to carry. The bird is now acting on its own impulses, entirely disconnected from the moral center that once gave its flight purpose. This is how Yeats explains the birth of anarchy. Yeats captures this collapse in the opening stanza's most famous line, "Things fall apart. The center cannot hold." তোমাদের পাঠ্য বইয়ের এমসিকিউতে একটি প্রশ্ন প্রায়ই আসে, "Things fall apart" বলতে কবি কি বুঝিয়েছেন? এর সঠিক উত্তর হল, "All things are shattered on the ground." যখন সমাজের কেন্দ্রশক্তি নষ্ট হয়ে যায়, তখন সবকিছু ভেঙে চুরমার হয়ে মাটিতে মিশে যায়। Nature fills the void left by a broken center with violence. Yeats describes a blood-dimmed tide being loosed upon the world, a heavy wave of brutality that drowns out all remaining innocence and ritual everywhere. The true danger lies in how people react to the violence. The best people, those who should be restoring order, lose all their confidence and stand by helplessly, while the worst people are driven by an aggressive, blind fanaticism. A society stripped of its moral anchor leaves an open door. Extreme, destructive forces will inevitably march straight through it to fill the void. Watching Europe tear itself apart in the aftermath of World War I, the poet becomes convinced that human intervention is no longer possible. A cosmic reset, a second coming, must be at hand. This brings us to a highly complex concept Yeats calls spiritus mundi, or in Bengali, Bishpo Atma. Think of it as a supernatural collective memory bank that stores all the shared imagery and experiences of the human race. Suddenly, the poet's vision shifts violently. The dark, drowning oceans vanish, replaced instantly by the harsh light of a vast desert. Out of the sand, a terrible image emerges. Much like the ancient Sphinx seen in this photograph, the creature possesses the heavy, massive body of a lion, topped with the head of a man. We expect a second coming to bring a peaceful savior. But humanity's collective mind, saturated in violence, is instead waking a dormant apex predator. The true horror of the creature lies in its face. It holds an expression that Yeats describes as a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun. For the previous 2,000 years, human civilization was largely built around Christian ideals, concepts of empathy, mercy, and compassion. This creature has none of those. It feels nothing at all. The beast slowly begins to move its massive thighs, pulling itself forward. All around it, the sky fills with the chaotic, frantic shadows of scavenger birds panicking at its arrival. The creature's waking signals that the approaching era will not be governed by human emotion or morality. It will be ruled by cold, mechanical indifference. The vision vanishes as quickly as it appeared. Darkness returns, but it leaves the poet with a specific understanding of how time actually functions. He realizes the true meaning of the 20 centuries of stony sleep. In the context of your syllabus, this represents the roughly 2,000-year span of the Christian era, during which this monstrous force lay dormant as stone. But that long, petrified slumber was eventually disturbed. It was vexed to nightmare, as the poem says, by the motion of a simple rocking cradle. That cradle represents the birth of Christ. Because this event started a new historical gyre, Yeats argues it simultaneously began the slow countdown toward the end of that very era. This is the core of Yeats' philosophy. History moves in 2,000-year cycles. When one side of the spiral reaches its widest point,
like the end of the Christian era, the center of the next spiral is already beginning to form inside it, preparing to tear the old one down. Which brings us to the haunting final question of the poem. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born?
তোমাদের পরীক্ষার জন্য মনে রেখো, এই রাফ বিস্ট বা রুক্ষ পশুটি একটি নির্দিষ্ট প্রতীকের কাজ করে। এটি হলো একটি অনিবার্য অ্যাপোক্যালিপস বা মহাপ্রলয়। As you can see in this distant landscape, the apocalyptic beast has a specific destination. It is slouching towards Bethlehem, the historical birthplace of Jesus Christ and the ultimate symbol of innocence. The beast is returning to the exact stable where the previous 2,000 years of history began. By being born in Bethlehem, it effectively resets the clock, replacing the era of mercy with its own cold indifference. The collapse of human morality guarantees the birth of a terrifying new world. The second coming remains a timeless warning about the fragility of order. আজকের মতো এই পর্যন্তই। আশা করি কবিতাটি তোমরা বুঝতে পেরেছ। আরও এমন ইনডেপথ আলোচনার জন্য আখাড়া স্টাডি চ্যানেলটি সাবস্ক্রাইব করতে ভুলো না। ভিডিওটি বন্ধুদের সাথে শেয়ার করো। দেখা হচ্ছে পরের ভিডিওতে।